What I'm always fascinated by, and what I think I get out of this the most, is the challenges. I love it when people challenge my thinking, because that makes me better. I'm lucky I found a field where I could both know what there was to be known, but then, much to my surprise and delight later, conduct some research and discover some things that weren't well understood. And then to find that others were interested in that and to be able to share that, that's my dream come true. What are we giving teams to help navigate this change? And so we came up with an approach based on this model with 4 steps. So most of the work that's done with teams is a product of thinking and research that was done 60 or 70 years ago. It was done at a time when teams were together. So it was done at a time when my team was right close to me. What's more, when you formed a team, people would stay at their jobs 20, 30, 40 years. It's a different time, it's a different world. So the really good thinking that was developed back then in the 1950s worked back then in the 1950s and 60s. Because you're making a lot of choices through this, and organizations are organic. They shift, right? They're not stable. And so as we've become more reliant on technology to keep us connected versus sitting across from one another, so our approach to working with teams has had to evolve. So this is why I've been really interested in the last 4 or 5 years in bringing team effectiveness work and tools and approaches, making them suit the world we live and work in today. And everything I do now is based on research I did at Mars in the last 5 or 6 years. So it almost doesn't matter how big the team is. What we want to do with the group, and we don't even bother with the definition of team. We say, where's the collaborative? When I'm working with teams, it always begins with a contracting process. We always have a discussion before I walk into the room. And what I tell them very simply is to collaborate better, collaborate less on what matters the most. And that's all about focus. That's all about choosing where you put your collaborative effort and choosing where you don't. It's going to allow you to take your collaboration to a different level because you're using your energy more efficiently, more effectively on the things that matter most. One of the assumptions people make when they're working with teams is that they have to focus on the group dynamic. And one of the really interesting discoveries I made while working at Mars was that assumption about pay attention to group dynamics actually misses a really important factor in what makes teams effective. And that is, what motivates the individuals on the team to do what they do? We asked ourselves, is there a way that we can make collaboration feel like just another thing to be achieved? Can we make teamwork feel as clear and specific and compelling as the individual tasks and projects that people have and that they focus on day in and day out? And that insight, that realization that we could connect individual motivation to a different approach to collaboration, that changed everything for me and for the people I've worked with. When I came away from that research with these few insights I had about the role of individual motivation in collaboration, about how wasteful a lot of traditional team building was, I felt I had work to do to change the minds of a lot of people. And I just feel compelled now to go out and to help companies save money, to help people spend their time better. And not only that, darn it, work ought to be fun. It ought to be pleasant to be around other people. It ought to be fulfilling. It ought to feel rewarding. And so much of that happens through our relationships with other people. That's always been at the heart of what I do. And now I've got an approach, I've got a set of tools that can help people feel work is more meaningful, that'll help deepen the relationships at work, that'll help their connection to people be stronger. How could I not be passionate about that?